All right, welcome to the Living Streams Church podcast. I'm hosting today. I'm driving, as we say. I'm David Stockton. Been at Living Streams 24 years. Pretty much don't remember anything before then. Really did. It was the 1900s when I started. No, actually, I started 2001, so it wasn't quite the 1900s.
You almost made it.
Yeah, almost. But yeah, and I've got CJ here with me today, which is super fun. CJ and I've gotten to know each other a bunch over the last couple of years, and so appreciated CJ, especially in the teaching reality, but he's also really fun to hang out with as well.
I hope so.
And his shoe game. His shoe game is one of my favorites. He's inspired me to try, but I don't try hard.
I like your shoe game.
I'm getting better.
I like your brown colored DC shoes that are just like these. Those are my favorites.
My brown DCs create a complete divide between male and female world.
Okay.
Every female I know hates them.
Really?
Every male I know loves them. Like literally I show up and my girls are like, "Oh, you wore those stupid shoes again?"
Oh, I need to, okay.
And then I have guys come up and say, "Those shoes are so awesome."
I'm going to start doing my own case study then on my brown shoes.
You should.
Because they're basically the equivalent. Like these are the Vans version of your DCs.
Yeah. My sock game is a little embarrassing today. I'm not sure if it's showing up there, but these are actually Bob Ross socks, and they're pink because my daughter's sophomore class color was pink at her high school retreat, which I was there for.
Yeah.
And so they bought me these socks, but they just match. It's really easy to find the match because they're the only two socks in the world that look like this, maybe. So they show up more often than they should.
I feel like they're working for you.
Yeah. Yeah. My shoe game, my sock game, they don't always go together.
These are the most important things about shepherding God's people,
this is
aren't
the deep dive that people are listening to.
Like when we think about how we want to preach the Bible in a really faithful way, somehow we think about our shoes.
It's true. It's true. It's a very important thing. But
preachers and sneakers, right?
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
I've heard about it.
It's a thing.
Yeah. I've heard there's lots of dollars spent on speakers or on shoes.
Yeah, I'm not that person.
Yeah. But I think I've always liked shoes. Like shoes have always been big part of my life, but I've never had tons. I'll have the ones that I love.
It's only been recent for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of having a teenager like boy, Keen, coming up and being all about shoes. And so it's like, Dad, you should get these.
I talked about your one shoes. I forget what they were. They're like high top basketball shoes maybe. But you had a whole background story. It was like a testimony and everything behind those shoes.
Yeah.
You know which ones I'm talking about?
The ones that are like neon pink and neon green and that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a cool story.
I think
those
you have
ones
to
are special. Tell a little bit of it.
You want me to tell
Just
it?
because I said that.
You set it up?
I can't. We can't do that to people.
Okay, we'll do it. Let's see, and we'll try to wrap this into Okia David if we can. So I had this client, one of my very first clients, counseling clients, a teenage kid who I was seeing for a while. And he eventually got his own job, I think when he turned 16 or 17 or something like that. And evidently it had a really big impact on this kid. And one session that I didn't remember till later, he said something about how, I think we have the same shoe size. And I was like, really, what's your shoe size? And he's like, I'm an 11 or something. And I was like, oh yeah, me too, I'm an 11. Okay, so then like a couple weeks later, he shows up to the session and he had seen me wearing like Nikes and he knew I was like a shoe person or whatever. And he shows up to the session with these Nikes that he had bought with his own money that he wanted to give to me as just like a statement of his like gratitude for me and everything like that. What's really tricky about it, though, is as a counselor, you can't accept gifts from people.
Okay.
You can accept like a tiny little gift. If someone brings you like a Starbucks gift card for $10 or something like that's not a big deal. But something like that where these shoes are like $150, $200 or whatever. And so I didn't know what to do because I was still an intern. So I like kind of like, oh, okay. And I like brought them home, and then I like talked to my supervisor and was like, what am I supposed to do? And she's like, oh yeah, you can't keep those shoes, whatever. So, but she said what you can do is turn this into an opportunity to use it as a therapeutic tool with your client. So I had to explain to him like, hey, I kind of thought through his story, and I was able to draw out for him because I knew him. Hey, I know that for you, you feel like your value and worth in relationships that you're in requires you to bring something to the table. Mm-hmm. And that's a really good quality about you in every relationship you have outside of this room. But here's what's different about the counselor relationship of like, I'm just here to serve you, and you don't have to pay me for this. You don't have to give me something so that I will care for you.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I can't keep the shoes, but I am going to keep the gift. And I told him what the gift meant. And I talked about how the time he took to figure out what my shoe size was, he clearly, and I was like, these are the best, these are the coolest Nikes I've ever seen. Like, you did good work, you know?
Yeah.
And so just anyway, we talked it through, and he took the shoes back and everything was fine. So then, for my graduation, when I graduated from my master's, Renee went out and found those same shoes. Gosh. And bought a pair of them for me. So they're the identical shoes to what my client gave me. So then I refer to this client affectionately as Nike Kid.
The shoe dog.
Yeah, the shoe dog.
So you can accept those from Renee, though?
I can accept gifts from Renee.
Even though you counsel her too. No,
Even though I do. Even though I do. Sometimes she likes me to be her counselor, and other times she does not.
Yeah, but she's counseled you.
So it's knowing the difference. Yeah. Knowing when and when not to.
Yeah, they're cool shoes. I think you wore them on like Christmas Eve or something.
I wear them around here and there.
That's cool. Yeah. So anyways, okay, some shoe talk. I do want to ask you about your Thanksgiving. Good Thanksgiving last week?
Yeah, it was real good.
Yeah?
We stayed here and just went to some friend's house.
Cool.
And just did Thanksgiving meal with them. And
yeah, I just can't really get over this weather. It's so amazing.
Amazing.
Just being outside in the sunshine. Even when I saw you today, you were just sitting out there soaking up the sunshine. So interesting, our relationship with the sun between winter and summer. Summer, we're just hiding from it.
I'm basking in this weather right now.
It's glory. It's
beautiful.
glory. Okay, well, we've been doing the antiphon series on Sunday mornings, and so this podcast is an attempt to dive deeper into some of the concepts, even some of the things that maybe we didn't have time to say in the Sunday morning context. And so going into this antiphon series, it really was you brought this to the table for us, this idea. But then even today you were telling me that it didn't originate with you, this idea. And obviously, there's church history and all these things. But where did you come to understand and know about the antiphons?
Yep. So I pastored in San Francisco, a church called Citizens, and
which is still going today.
Still going.
In case you're in San Francisco,
if you're there,
check it out.
My very dear friend Dave Ainsworth, who's still pastoring the church, we were on staff together. So we didn't have a lead pastor title. We just had like a flat model. And so it was really about like who has which strengths, you know? Yep. And one of Dave's real strengths is putting together sermon series. So that was kind of he would run with that, you know? And so, you know, we would do the love, joy, hope, peace kind of thing for Advent. Oh, yeah. But he came to me, I was looking back, it was all the way back in 2017 when we did it. And said, hey, I came across this guy, Malcolm Guite. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Guite, Guite. Found these antiphons, this sort of, you know, the last 7 days of Advent, all the names of Jesus, and then wrote poems and songs for them. Yeah. And so Dave came across his website and all the work he had done and was kind of inspired by that and said, hey, what if we do this series for all of Advent? And what if we just do a longer Advent series of like 7-8 weeks? And so that's what we did. We did November and December. And so I preached through a couple of those. I didn't do a Wisdom in 2017 or Dayspring. I did Root of Jesse and Morning Star. Okay. But Dave, he did the other ones. He must have done 5 out of 7 of them. But yeah, it's just like a really sweet way, an opportunity, I think, to dig into each of those messianic names and prophecies that we will reference a lot during Christmas. Like all the readings that we do for Christmas, we're reading all those like Ruta Jesse, and it's in O Come Emmanuel, and we sing that. And, year after year, you're kind of like, oh, that's cool, Ruta Jesse, but you have no idea what it means, Same thing with Key of David. You're like, oh, yeah, I mean, Jesus unlocks, everything.
He holds the key.
But, really cool, like, opportunity to, and like, even after doing the series, like, I didn't know about Shebna and Eliakim and that story. And, getting to sit and hear that, on Sunday is cool. And
yeah, it's fun for me because, like, it hits on a couple things that I just love. Like, the whole idea of, so when we say prophecy, there's a lot of different ways people can go with that word. Now, first and foremost, we have prophetic books in the Bible.
Yeah.
We have prophetic literature.
It's a genre of the Old Testament.
Of the Old Testament, some in the New Testament as well. But it's this like scriptural prophetic writings. So they're just so fun to dive into for me, and so interesting and so challenging too. Not easy. The poetry of them is what also is so inviting, and so like the imagery, the word pictures, but it also just is so like, how do you fit these into any kind of context? So I really love that. I obviously really love Jesus, and the fact that each one of these doesn't sort of point to Jesus.
Yeah.
It isn't like, oh, these are cute little sayings that
right.
No, these are like deeply profound messianic prophetic names of our Lord. So the fact that like I'm getting to look deeper into the eyes of Jesus, I've really been enjoying that. And then the whole idea, which I guess I haven't really, the whole idea of Messiah, that for 6,000 years of human recorded history, there's been this concept of Messiah, in Hebrew Mashiach, where God would provide. So it's like from the very beginning of human accounting, right? Human writing of any history, there's always been a clear understanding that there is something wrong with the world. There's war, there's good, there's bad, there's all these things. And yet, at least in the Hebrew tradition, the Hebrew scriptures, there's always been this, but God will at some point intervene in a way that brings about something new. Like either restoration towards the garden or his kingdom revealed. There's just, so for all these years prior to the coming of Jesus Christ, there was this singular unifying longing for God to do something within that, within the community that worships Yahweh, the biblical community. And what's interesting is, so then when Jesus came, there was a division in that community. There were some who said, this is it. This is actually God coming to intervene. And there was the majority of those people saying, this is not it. This can't be it. God would never come as a baby. God would never come humble and poor. God would never come weak and be crucified as a criminal. All of those type of things. So it's interesting because you have this unified longing for Messiah. Now we have this interruption in this whole regard where the true Hebrew kind of rabbinic Talmudic tradition is still longing for Messiah just as much as ever, moaning and the wailing wall is literally, God, please send Messiah. Please come and make these things right. The new oppression that we're dealing with, echoes the old oppression. And yet there's this kind of, other strand that has kind of come off of that consistent longing, that is a rejoicing that Messiah has come, but then as also picking up a new longing for Messiah to return. And so, I don't know, just like jumping into that river is kind of what I felt like I've done as someone trying to unpack these things. I've jumped into the river that is longing for Messiah, that is both so rich ancient history, but also just as alive now. So I can join with everyone, even who doesn't believe Jesus is the Messiah, in that longing for Messiah. Not in their belief, but in the same, like, I get your longing. I feel the same longing for the second coming of Christ, You just don't believe there was a first coming.
Right.
But we're both longing for this final revelation. I just believe that Jesus came, that Messiah did come and make a way, and that one day he's going to return and kind of, Revelation 21 and 22, where righteousness will dwell, no tear, nor sorrow, new heaven, new earth, all those things. So I don't know. That's just been, it's just been so fun to swim, to kind of just get caught up in that.
What do you like about it? Like, what is it that excites you?
That's actually a great question, because it's kind of miserable in some ways to just sit there and long for something. I think I like it because it makes sense. Like it puts words to the angst that I do have.
Oh, okay.
So to know that it's okay to long,
right.
which also means okay to be disappointed or to hurt or to feel incomplete.
Yeah.
Because that I feel that all the time.
Right.
And so to know that that's a part of it, it doesn't make it feel better.
Yeah.
But it makes it feel more purposeful.
Yeah.
And if I can channel that into, and what my prayer, so most of my prayers have either started or ended with, "Come, Lord Jesus." Like I'm crying out, "Come, Lord, more than ever." And whether that's, obviously this return, the second coming, this day of the Lord, this final judgment, all those type of things that are prophesied in the scripture.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's a longing for that, but there's a longing for, "Come, Lord Jesus." Like your presence, your kingdom come, your will be done, your will. I know the wrestling matches I've had with my will and your will, and whenever I succumb to that, I look back and think that was way better. So I'm just longing for Jesus to come way more, or at least have more kind of like meat behind that.
Yeah.
And it affects my prayer time. It affects my worship. It's affected my study. I think it's maybe affected the way that I carry the weight. Maybe put a little bit more endurance in me. So those are some things for me.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. I think we don't often feel a ton of permission to admit the longing, admit the struggle, to name it, to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's certain occasions that invite us into where we feel like, oh, now is the time. It's appropriate for me to express longing or struggle
groaning,
or frustration
even.
or groaning. And so I think that's what is cool about Advent as a season, as a time of the year.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden it's like, oh, now is the time where we get to admit that it feels like, even though God promises to be a provider, even though we've received Jesus, we know he's here, and he says, "Behold, I'm with you till the end of the age," which I'm going to get to talk about in a couple of weeks. You still, even though I have intellectual assent to these ideas, my day, my week, my month, my year, my stresses, my broken relationships, my disillusionment and cynicism and financial struggles and all these things are still very much like occupying my head and heart and body space all the time.
Yeah. And sometimes even more at this time of year.
So you're saying there's like this stream already of like, you have Jewish folks that are still awaiting a Messiah at all. We have Christian people who know that Jesus has come, but are waiting for him to return and kind of finish it up.
Yep.
And then you have, secular atheists that are like, dude, I don't know what any of that is, but I do know stuff's hard.
Yeah.
And I wish somebody would come
Yep.
and make things right.
Yep.
Like, I wish there was a peg in a wall that I could hang it all on that would be strong enough to stay there.
Yep, Isaiah 22, the peg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, I didn't even go that one step out more where you're talking about the people in society who don't know Jesus or who don't come from a Hebrew tradition, a Jewish tradition. The longing is still there for them too.
For sure.
Like, he's put our eternity in our hearts. And I think there's been at least some sort of interesting awakening in our society where people going, yeah, I know we need something, but I know it's not me.
Yep.
I know it's not the government. I know it's not, some of these institutions that used to say they could do it. I know it's not secularism. I know, it's like there's at least an awakening of people going, I'm longing and I'm lost.
Yeah.
And so the whole concept of Messiah, I think it is good news, and I think that's what people are looking for. Even, I forget, Shabuzi or whatever, he's got the song like, all I ever need is just a little good news. Have you heard him sing that song?
No.
I'm just like, yes, man.
I don't even know who Shabuzi is. I've never heard
he's
of
He's a country
ever.
singer.
Okay, I've probably heard. I'm sure I've heard him then.
Yeah, he's actually got some fun songs, but I just
Okay.
his voice is
Shabuzi.
really cool.
I'll check
He's
it
the
out.
one that sang Everyone at the Bar Getting Tipsy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that kind of
okay, I
took
know
over
that.
the nation.
Okay, yeah.
But,
I know that song.
Yeah, so then he sings a
Okay.
song now that kind of, it's like interesting the way the chorus goes, but the chorus kind of tails off just going, and all I really want is just some good news.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's Messiah.
Yeah, right.
That's longing for Messiah.
Yeah, it is.
Right there. And it
Yeah.
is so deep in all of our hearts. And
Yeah.
and I think ultimately what it's doing is it's kind of rekindling hope.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think the hope in what's to come, the hope in the return of Christ, the hope in, like the new heaven and new earth.
Yeah.
Like I think it's weird because there's a debate within, Christianity to where we shouldn't be hoping for Jesus to come. We should be trying to make his kingdom here on earth.
Right.
And I get some of that. I get some of that debate, and I think we can overdo either of them. But I think this has just got me going again. Yeah, but I'm also really hoping that Jesus comes and makes all things new, and that hope is giving it, what it's translating into is endurance. It's making me feel the weight of the world a little differently. Like I have a little more strength for the challenges.
Yeah.
I have a little more grit in me, I feel like, because of the hope.
Yeah.
I think that's what hope's supposed to do, is to create the grit. But yeah, so that's so. Thank you for getting us into this antiphon series. It's been fun, and yeah, I was talking with Pastor Mario with Living Streams Espanol. I was like, so how's it been going for you with antiphon? He's like, this is brand new for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but he was even saying, he goes, it's caused me to have to work a lot harder.
Yeah.
But it's he said the people have just been totally enjoying it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean it's
pretty cool.
It's work. I mean, I'm already in. I'm finishing out with Emmanuel, with God with us. And so I'm in Isaiah 7, and you're just sort of like trying to wrap your mind around the narrative.
Yeah.
Because you have the prophetic literature, you have Isaiah, then you have the book of 2 Kings, where all the events are taking place, and so you're trying to figure out, who's who, which nation is that, this and that, and who the people are, right?
Yeah.
Shebna, Eliakim, all these characters, and you're trying to get to the bottom of and there's all these different kings, and the kingdoms are split, and then you have the Assyrians that are, there's Assyria, but then there's all these countries that are kind of like factions within it. They technically are ruled by Assyria, but then the Syrians, who are part of the Assyrian kingdom, are like, no, we don't want to obey you. So we're gonna. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So it is hard work to learn and understand what's going on,
It's contextualized. Yeah.
and then to deal with these passages, because in a very real way, when Isaiah wrote them, he didn't understand how they pointed to the person of Christ.
Yep.
Yep. And the people didn't quite understand. And if you talk to a Jewish scholar, they'll tell you all about how none of those have anything to do with Jesus.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it does take
Yeah.
some work.
Right. And that's where I was like, in my mind, like there's the three things that we in these names have to do. There's the understanding of the day.
Yeah.
Because what Isaiah was saying to the people of Israel in that day, and Shebna and Eliakim, actually was valid and important for that moment.
Right.
And it was what God was saying and what God was doing, and it so it was like prophetic for the moment.
Yeah.
But then there's some things they're just like, wow, these don't quite fit. But then you fast forward and you think, oh wow, this is actually, prophetic for the time when Jesus was here, and it fits in these different ways.
Right.
But then there's that third is, well, then there's another reality that's yet to come in the fulfillment of how this is a prophetic, messianic name of Jesus. So yeah, that's the work, right? Is trying to fit all those. And what's so fascinating to me is, and getting into the key of David, was going into Revelation, and here it is, something that was only mentioned one time in all of the library of Scripture.
Wild.
And yet, for whatever reason, it had become such a pointer towards the Messiah that here in John, John the Apostle on the Island of Patmos or whatever, in Revelation is saying that when Jesus showed up, he was holding the key of David, and John knew what that meant.
Oh yeah.
And actually wrote it in a way that people would, with no explanation, except for like, oh, so everybody who grew up in that messianic tradition was immediately going, oh, the one who holds the key of David, that's the person who's going to actually govern things correctly and administrate, or the prime minister, what are you talking about, and bring all those things of stability and freedom and opportunity and safety and security. I don't know. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was a good deep dive for me.
That's cool.
But yeah, so on the key of David, I'll just kind of recap real quickly, and we can deep dive a little bit into there. Any thoughts that sparked in you, or any other things that you had heard. But the key of David being only mentioned twice in the Bible, once in Isaiah 22 and once in Revelation chapter 3. And both times it's attached with the door opening. I will open doors no one can shut, and shut doors no one can open.
Yep.
And then in Isaiah 22, connected with these two prime minister type people, with Shebna and Eliakim, one not looked on favorably, one looked at unfavorably. Which you were there third service?
Yeah. I
kept trying to do the kid thing, man. I was like trying so hard to make it okay for these kids.
I thought it was great. But did it hit better in the other services?
No, I didn't. I was too scared in the other services because
you didn't do the booing and the I like him thing. You didn't do that till third?
I didn't do that till third.
Oh, dude, that was working.
Well, it's so funny. I was thinking about doing it, and I did some stuff, but I didn't. It's funny. I've worked with kids enough to where sometimes you start things you cannot stop. So I was nervous to really get it going, because I thought, now every time I say Shebna, I have to remember they're going to do that.
Okay.
So now I have to be so careful with my word. And I was like, I don't know if I should do that. But then second service, it was funny. Anybody that was there second service, I was like, dude, this was too much to ask of these kids to sit through all of this. So then third service, that's what gave me the gumption to say, I got to do it for the kids,
Yeah.
And so every time I said Shebna, everybody was supposed to boo.
Yeah.
And then I ever said Eliakim, they'd be like, ooh, I like him. And
did you already have the whole idea in your mind and you just didn't execute it first services? Okay.
I was too scared the first two services.
But that's so unlike you, dude.
I should try it.
That's very out of character for you. I've seen you like workshop some crazy crowd stuff before service that I didn't believe in, and then you were like, you guys not believing in me just makes me want to do it all the more. Where was that David at?
It came out third service, but I was
okay.
I just wasn't. I think by third service maybe I felt like I got to do that. I got to at least try it for the kids, and maybe I felt like I had enough handle on the material.
Dude,
now
you killed
it. But it worked out. Yeah, we didn't go off.
That's your superpower. That's one of your superpowers. I've told you some of your superpowers up there. That's one of those. And I think to myself all the time when I'm sermon prepping, like, I should try one of David's fun, crowd-involved things, and I never do it. And I don't know if it's just that I'm scared to do it, or that I truly am just not a very fun guy. You're actually fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think people give me a lot of grace, and it gets a little crazy, but people sometimes like a little craze.
I loved it.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm very engaged when you're preaching as well too. But I might have to do a little bit more.
Doesn't have to be fun.
The what do they call that? The physical comedy. I have to put more physical comedy into there than just the verbal comedy. You can do it with words, but I got to throw in some weird noises and stuff.
No, I liked it.
But yeah, no, it was really fun And
honestly, everybody, even the adults, will remember it
jumping in.
forever.
Well, and they were jumping
because
in
of
too.
that. They will remember, and I will always remember that story.
I like
because
him.
I will always remember that.
Yeah, I used to do that with the youth all the time, and in some ways it's the way my brain works.
Yeah.
Like I can't, and sometimes I'll say that,
Right.
I'll be like, sorry, I said all of that. You just got a little glimpse into my brain.
Right.
Like the stuff that comes up in my brain, even like the Hulk and the Loki
Yeah.
battle. Like I was reading Isaiah 22 in my study time, and I just could not stop thinking about that. Hulk just whipping him
Yeah.
like a ragdoll, because he's saying he's going to roll him around
Yeah.
and throw him into a wild land.
That's
But
funny.
anyways, that was fun to do that. But we introduced Eliakim and Shebna, the prime ministers, in this whole reality. And Hezekiah was the king, but these guys were operating in some sort of administrative role. One of the things that I was going to mention, because I feel like, the true administrative people out there, the people who like spreadsheets and in Excel,
God bless
they
them.
could nerd on it all day long.
I love those people.
Like Arthur Lee, he claims that.
Yeah, he would.
I actually, we got him a gift when he went on sabbatical, and I wrapped it in Excel spreadsheets. That was the wrapping paper that when I gave it to him. I can't tell you
The joy.
like the love tank
Yeah,
fill
yeah,
that happened in that
you
moment.
see me.
It was so funny.
You felt very seen.
But
and loved by
I felt
you.
like I meant to do this, but it just never came in. But to say like, hey, for those of you who are more administrative, like this is your passage. Like this is your moment right here where God is saying, look at Eliakim.
Right.
The way that he's going to administrate is just like Jesus. Like you are picturing the Messiah when you organize everything to give the most security, the most stability, the most freedom, the most opportunity. So I'll say that now in case anyone out there is listening that's
good
that way. But I forgot to mention that in there. But yeah, and then I just went from, how we went from Shebna to Eliakim, and then how Eliakim gets us to Jesus, and then Jesus to us. And I had a real clear sense from the Lord that the message was supposed to go in the sense of, what Jesus is asking of us. And that got us to Revelation 3, and then even the Message translation where I see how little strength you have, yet you haven't denied me. And I'm calling you to passionate patience.
Okay.
And to hold on to what you have and not be distracted. And really, it just seems like Jesus was saying to those who are weak, who are struggling, who are not feeling the blessing of the Eliakim, but maybe living under the Shebna reality.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. I see you. I'm with you. Endure, be faithful, even though you have little strength. Because I just, my email box has been full of people who just aren't making rent.
Really?
Who just lost their job.
Okay.
Who are, I actually also have had many people, like a number of people say, hey, let me know if you know of a family in need that we could help out this Christmas. So it's like whatever pastoral reality that I have, it's really leaning into the benevolent side of things and just some of the pain and angst that people are going through, the pressure and uncertainty coming into the year. And then we're supposed to be so happy and so generous right now because it's Christmas. And yet if you're not happy and you don't have any means, the pressure is so much greater and the guilt and the shame is so much more intense. So I really felt like the Spirit was saying, hey, speak to them, tell them I'm on my way. Tell them I'm going to be here shortly. Tell them I see that they have little strength, but all I'm asking is them just not to deny my name. Don't try and escape this time with distractions. So that's where my message went. But it's funny, there was another message that didn't end up coming, and that was the whole idea of whatever you are administrating, whatever authority God has given you, whether that's in your marriage, in your family, in your workplace, whatever it might be, are you conducting yourself in a way that is bringing the most security, stability, freedom, and opportunity for those that God has given you care for? And it's funny because I went all the way this way, even though that's the other message.
You could have given a whole nother sermon
that
on
was that everything was leading that way as well. And it was cool because Mark Buckley actually came up to me after first service, and that's the way he was taking things.
Oh, really?
And he was like, "Oh, this was so good. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this." And he was
Yeah.
giving me a little feedback, which is always helpful. And I was just like, "Okay, so I see that."
Yeah.
And yet, I just felt like the Lord was wanting me to minister in this direction. But did you see where as you were listening to it? Like, where did you end up going?
Yeah, I think the clear contrast between Shebna and Eliakim, I think, is very sharp.
Yeah.
That's a distinction I think is sharp. That's intended probably by Isaiah when he's writing the account for us to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that I noticed, and I was looking back over my buddy Dave's sermon too from it.
Oh, cool.
That he drew out that I thought was really beautiful was how even though Eliakim was like this faithful steward and servant, the people hung too much on him. So I don't know if you have it pulled up, but it says that, he's going to be like a peg,
Yep.
but that ultimately that peg will fall.
Yep.
Because even though Eliakim understands that he's just sort of the messenger and the steward of this, the people are like, instead of following the Lord that Eliakim is pointing them to, they stop at Eliakim and they say, let's just hang everything on you, man.
Yeah.
And then it's too much.
Yeah.
And and I feel like you did this by saying, hey, ultimately Eliakim isn't enough.
Right.
He's a good steward, maybe a good administrator.
Yeah.
Maybe we could look at him as like a good example of like, if you're in an administrative role or how are you stewarding, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right?
Yeah.
It's fine for us to glean wisdom and good conduct and a good ethic as Christians from Old Testament stories.
Totally.
But more ultimately, we are to look at every narrative and go, what does this tell me about Jesus? And this morning, as I was like praying through it and studying, because I knew we were going to be chatting about it, I just kept thinking about the peg in the wood of the cross.
Yeah.
Because the picture of Eliakim is like someone nailing a peg into a wall.
Yep.
That you would hang things on.
Yeah, they say that I will fasten him like a peg in a secret place, and he will become a throne of honor, and they will hang on him the whole honor of his father's house. And then, it goes on to list other things that they hang on him. Yeah, it's exactly right.
Yeah. And I just was thinking, okay, I hang my stuff. I hang my hope. I hang my opinions on people. I very much look to like a man, a person, a representative, right? To, make sense of life for me.
Yeah.
I've kind of always been like that. Like if you go back and trace kind of my narrative, there was always some guy that I was like, that's my guy.
Okay.
Like a teacher, a coach. For a long time it was like a certain worship leader or a musician because that was kind of my world, and so it's like, oh, David Crowder and Louis Giglio and Passion. For a long time I was like, dude, if I could just be near that and be with them, those are my people, and then it kind of turned more theological where I'm like, studying under Wayne Grudem at Phoenix Seminary, and I'm like, oh, that's my guy, dude. Whatever Wayne Grudem says in his systematic theology,
that's the path, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like pastors like John Piper, Matt Chandler for a long time. It was like Matt Chandler is like, this is the best preacher I've ever heard in my life. Basically, whatever Matt Chandler thinks is what I think, you know?
Yeah. You got a little Keller at some point, you told me.
Then when I lived in San Francisco, And man, I remember during being a pastor in San Francisco, because I read Center Church. I mean, I read all Keller stuff, and it was like, okay, he pastored successfully in Manhattan. I'm in San Francisco. Like, what do we do? Like, follow the Tim Keller playbook.
Yes, for sure.
And I remember during COVID, during the 2020 election, and you had George Floyd. You had all three of those things happening at once. And I literally, and Tim Keller was dying of cancer during that time.
Yeah.
And I was literally like on social media, like looking for Tim to say something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he can't because he's dying. He's like at a hospital getting treatment right now.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling so lost. And so it reminds me, your message reminds me of how quick I am to place my hope in a leader.
Yeah.
And just a reminder to myself that like there's nobody that can shepherd and pastor and lead me other than Jesus Christ himself. Yeah. And I want to just highlight, and that's true if you go to Living Streams, don't hang your hat on David. Not this Kia David over here.
No.
Or me.
Can't open very much.
You know, or any of the other teachers or any of the other pastors, you know.
Yeah.
We love you. We are trying, you know, to accurately teach the Bible and shepherd, you know, and care for people. But what you need the most is the person of Christ.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the only, the nail in the cross is the only peg that will hold up.
Yep. He's the only hope that won't disappoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And I mean, obviously our political climate these days is very, person centric, right?
Yeah.
If we could just get someone, in the governorship or in the presidency,
totally,
or whatever that is like Eliakim, then we'll all be secure and free and opportunity and all these things. And it is true that righteousness begets righteousness.
No, for
it is
sure.
true that there is a fruit of righteousness.
Yeah.
It is true that bad and evil create, bad and evil.
Sure.
And so all of that is true, but you're what we're longing for.
Yeah.
Like if you're longing for CJ to get it right enough to where you will be saved.
Right.
That's not something that CJ can carry or is supposed to carry.
Yeah.
If you're longing for, me and Living Streams to rescue in every situation, it just is only a matter of time till you're going to be, greatly disappointed.
Yeah.
And yet, we talked where the peg that was secure will fall away.
Yeah.
And the load that was on it will be cut off.
Right.
And that whole idea, again, I think was just something that pointed towards Jesus, where Jesus was the greater than Eliakim.
Yeah, right.
And he had the load put on him,
Yep.
and he was cut off, and the load was cut off. And we talked about that on Sunday a little bit, where our sin was laid on him, and when he was cut off, so was the weight, the guilt, the shame, and the wrath.
Yeah, I liked that.
All cut off.
Yeah.
And then he rose again, not to bring back the sin, not to bring back the load, but he rose again free and clean and righteous with that key of David.
Yeah.
And is right now establishing his kingdom, which is what brings about the greatest human flourishing, especially in those areas. Again, I just kept going back to those areas of freedom, opportunity, stability, and security. I mean, those are the things that we long for. That's what government is supposed to help with.
Right.
And Jesus is establishing that in a subversive kind of spiritual realm way right now. But there is a day at which, the clouds are, peeled back, the elements melt with fervent heat. In some way, the curtain that separates, heaven and earth, the spirit and the natural, will actually be rent, and what will be revealed is what is true and right and what God has been building all along. And so we long for that day. But again, those hopes, they've got to be in Jesus, you know?
Yeah.
And yet, when we move from Shebna to Eliakim to Jesus, Jesus to us, that's where it's always a little funny, I mean, as a preacher, because ultimately our job is to just help people know Jesus more.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the message, it's always like, so what do we do?
Yeah.
You know? So yes, we want Jesus to come. Yes, Jesus is the answer. Yes, thank you, Jesus. Yes, worship Jesus. Yes, you know, get to know Jesus. Yes, cling to Jesus. Yes, look to Jesus. But like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you were saying, where it's good for us to derive, you know, ethical application for our lives and actions. Okay, so then how do I conduct myself in the world knowing this is true? And that's where Eliakim and Shebna become good examples for us of what to do and what not to do. And yeah, I think, you know, as a dad, I went there thinking, is the way that I'm stewarding the resources that God has given me, you know, natural resources, you know, physical resources, emotional resources, mental resources, all these different, am I stewarding those in a way that cause the most freedom, opportunity, security, and stability for my wife first? Sometimes.
What did you find out as you were
I was still in the midst of
as you were thinking about it? What were you?
Well, for my girls, I mean, I won't say anything too specific because it's their story to tell too. But I definitely know with one of my daughters, I think I've been a little more overbearing than Jesus would have me be.
Okay.
And I think it makes sense. But again, Jesus doesn't always call us to do what makes the most sense.
Right.
He calls us to do what will bring about you know, the right fruit. And so, you know, there's one, it's the one, it's like, okay, how do I steward, how do I administer the authority God has given me over her, particularly to actually, you know, get her to those wide open spaces, you know, so that she doesn't feel hurled around and thrown into a wild land. So yeah, that's one application.
That's good. That's good.
Obviously, I think about the job here at work. There's just a lot of people who work here, a lot of people who are looking to this place as some sort of belonging and strength and covering and all of those things. And so, yeah, I mean, I take that very seriously and feel the trepidation of that at times. Are we stewarding the resources in a way that creates the most freedom, opportunity, stability, and security for the people here? And sometimes those are hard decisions to make. For sure. Very thankful for our elders. Very thankful for Arthur because I get to process everything with him. And yeah, I feel like we're making steps that sometimes don't make sense. You know, they don't seem easy, but I think they'll bring about those results. You know, and really hoping and praying for that for our people. And not just staff people, but people in the congregation too. I mean, I love it. We have a number of people right now who are telling me, "Hey, I've got this idea," and it's really like, it's a ministry idea, and if it is what they feel like, I don't think they know the full ramifications of, if the Lord's really speaking this to you, and you're coming to us with this idea, and if it's supposed to be what you're feeling like maybe this could be. Like literally you're asking us to give the entire resource of Living Streams to this idea. Now they're not asking, they don't even know that that's what's happening. But as I'm saying, I'm like, the Lord is speaking to you. And one of our favorite things to do is get behind and push. So it doesn't have to be my idea that we do. Yeah. But there's two people in particular who've brought ideas. And I'm like, I love this little like moment because they don't know that if we put the full resource of Living Streams behind that, this could become something really amazing.
Yeah.
And we've seen it done before.
Yeah.
And so they just felt like the Lord's been putting something on their heart. And I'm like, let's go. So again, that's the freedom, the opportunity, the stability, security that we're trying to create around here. And so I love it when that
That's
happens. Cool. But yeah. How about you as an authority? Any of those things come to mind?
Yeah, I think I was thinking more just application for me personally, I guess, from your sermon, was number one, like realizing how much that I put way too much stock in like a person.
Yeah.
Which is not fair to that person either, because I put a lot of pressure on those people, you know, and they're gonna fail.
Yep.
And I think I do that to myself, you know, with the people that I am, you know, called to care for, my family, my clients, people I'm leading, you know, where I feel I will often feel too great a responsibility to solve people's problems, to have the right answer. And it's part of being in the position I'm in as a preacher of the word and former pastor and counselor. People expect me to know what to do when things are hard, you know? And so they're like, this terrible thing is happening. CJ,
can you help
fix
me?
this?
Yeah.
Tell me what's right. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I put that burden on myself and on others. So that's the takeaway for me, just kind of like really reallocate the burden and responsibility to Christ.
Yeah.
And I don't do that enough. I don't
that's good.
put the burden on him, just like in the deep recesses of my heart, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing was when you were talking just now again about like how Jesus was cut off from the Father, so that my sin and shame could be cut off. And I was just thinking about like, do I live? I know that's true, and I believe that it's true. Do I live like one who has been unburdened? Or do I walk around like a person who was like slumped over because they were carrying a heavy load, and then someone came and they took the weight off of their shoulders, and instead of that person standing upright, they stayed slumped over.
That's a cool picture,
and they continued to walk throughout their life only looking at the ground and not enjoying the freedom. That's the picture I was kind of getting there for myself that I didn't get Sunday and just now I got it when you were talking. It was just like, in what ways do I need to walk more uprightly and really live in light of the freedom that I've been given in Jesus?
Forgiving yourself is definitely one of the hardest forgivenesses there is.
Yeah.
There's some hard ones.
Letting go of shame.
Yeah.
I'm a very shame-oriented person.
Yeah.
Like, that's sort of like a cardinal like struggle for me. And I know it's just like a human condition, but like in particular, I think I regularly feel like I'm not enough.
Yeah.
I'm not enough. And I it's a gap. There's a gap between my self-belief and what Jesus is saying is true about me. And I want to see that gap keep closing.
I like that.
Where I see myself the way Christ sees me.
Yeah. Because you don't want to think more highly of yourself than you ought. But the Bible never says think less of yourself than you ought. And I think that true humility is thinking correctly about yourself. Because confidence is actually a beautiful thing. But when confidence gives way to pride, arrogance, conceit, that's all that means is we've started to think a little too highly of ourselves than we actually are. But then if you start to think too low of yourself, then that's a whole nother issue and challenge. And I forget Nelson Mandela used to quote somebody, and it was something to the tune of, you know, I think sometimes people aren't afraid of like what they are. They're afraid of how great they could be. It was such an interesting like flip in the quote. because you thought he was going a different way.
Right.
But in some ways, if we really believed we're the imago Dei,
Yeah.
that we have been blessed with every spiritual blessing in Christ Jesus, that we are, royal priests, that we like, I mean, if you just like, if that stuff, if we really let that stuff get all the way in, I think it would be very interesting to see the way we walk. And I love the picture of like, to what degree, how slumped are you?
Yeah.
And the truth is, in Christ, there is no condemnation, like zero.
Yeah.
The only condemnation that you might feel is coming from you, is basically what Jesus is trying to say. So how do we like first assess where we are with that, and then wrestle with the grace and love and forgiveness of Christ enough to where we can, get our heads up, I love, they say Jesus is the lifter of our head. There's a song that sings that. I love that song in the sense of just sitting in a room and it's like, that's what Jesus, he's coming in and he's saying, hey, pick your head up. Lift your head up.
It's good.
Because he wants to see you face to face and there's no condemnation anymore. Yeah, that is good. That's some interesting stuff. Then only the key of David can open those doors. Right? The key of David. It was funny that Kurt gave me that key after first service, and so I had this key. But
I loved it.
I was like, "It's cool. This is a cool key, but this key doesn't do anything. Really, if you want to get around Living Streams, you need the code of Nate."
Yep, that's right.
That was pretty fun.
That was good.
I got to talk to Nate about that. See what he thinks about that. Well, that's good. That was some good business right there. I want to say something just again as you were talking through the balance that you have to do between all the things that you are doing. And CJ has reiterated this and has to keep reiterating this, probably more so for himself than for anybody else. But CJ is not a pastor at Living Streams. He's not on staff. The goodness that we get from CJ is actually just him as a dad, as a husband, as a professional counselor, coming and sharing the treasures of his own study with the Lord with us. And so we all want to spend more time with CJ because of the gift and anointing God has given him.
Especially me. I want to spend more time with CJ.
And he does have a lot to offer, and he does have wisdom. And his counseling is all good and all that. But at the same time, we also have to let CJ not be a pastor at Living Streams. And if you want to talk to CJ, or if you want to be counseled by CJ, you can ask me, or you can ask someone at the church if that is something work, and we can talk with CJ. But again, CJ has his job that he does outside, and yet for here at Living Streams, all we've asked him to be is someone who comes and is part of the teaching team. And he is a good brother, and feel free to talk to him on a Sunday, or like say, hey, thanks for sharing that, or hey, could you pray for me about this? No problem, any of those things. But at the same time, CJ is just CJ.
And if you did email me at cj@livingstreamschurch.org or whatever it is, and you didn't hear back from me, it's because I don't have an email address at the church.
That's funny.
And I never got it.
Yeah.
So I'm not neglecting you. I just literally am not getting that message.
Yeah. And CJ and I have talked about some of those boundaries. And I think CJ is just doing a wonderful job of leaning in and making himself available, but at the same time keeping healthy boundaries. But we do have a pastoral care team beyond just me. And we actually now have a volunteer pastoral care team to join the pastoral care team. So if you are looking for some pastoral care, basically a little counsel, just someone to cry with, someone to share some of the pain with, someone to unload things on, more than happy to. As I've said, if you're someone who might be listening to this saying, hey, I've got a bunch of extra money and I would love to help somebody get out of some sort of debt captivity, I'm trying to make that happen. We've been able to do that in a couple of situations. It's so beautiful. It's not weird. You could be anonymous, all those things. But also if you're someone who's saying, hey, I'm experiencing a lot of debt captivity and I could use some help with some financial wisdom, and please reach out, David@livingstreams.org. Happy to connect. We're doing some of that right now. And and excited to do that as well, because Jesus does want to set the captives free. And we won't do more than we can, and there's a very limited amount that we can do, but we'll at least try. And we don't want you to just be sitting there alone in any kind of captivity or frustration. We're supposed to walk together at least.
Yeah.
So you can reach out in that regard as well. But thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you, CJ, for taking the time and sharing. Enjoyed it as always. And we'll be back this Sunday with the next anitphon. And if you want to comment, if you want to send an email just about the podcast too, we'd love to hear feedback on how this is hitting you. And maybe you have something to add too to the anitphon series, and we could bring it up next time. But God bless you, and have a good week.